All right. Let's see. So if I'm up and
The,
running,
yeah,
it
I've got the standby screen on your YouTube page. That's working.
good. All right. Huh. We should be up in a second.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm talking right now. Oh, good. Yeah, I even show you as being as watching. Do you hear me at all?
Not yet. It hasn't switched over. Although I did just
Oh.
hear us because we were talking over the standby screen.
Oh, really?
But
Oh,
the
good.
standby screen is still up. Oh, here we go. Hold
Oh,
on.
good. All right. So we should be live now.
Okay. I've
Oh,
got
wait.
both of us with audio on your YouTube channel, except my picture's off center. But aside from that, at least I hear you.
Oh, that's because you were leaning, on your Zoom screen. You're like leaned all the way over. I can
Oh,
move you.
sorry. I'll lean back.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Hang on. Let me move
Okay.
you around a little more.
All right. I'll
Let's
try not to
see.
move too much.
Sorry, when I made this, I like was thinking about something very different. I did wasn't anticipating a 14 by 9 or
Ah,
16 by 9. Let's see. Hang on. There you go. Now you're on center again. All right, so I'll go live on everything else again.
okay.
Whew. All right, so we should be good now. Let's see. Uh-oh. Although I just took you off the screen. There we go. Good. So we should be live. Oh,
Okay.
thank God. Oh my God. I'm live on everything except Twitch. Even though according to Twitch I'm actually live.
All right. Well, let's try this again then. Welcome everybody.
Yeah.
We are live one more time. Let's see here. Why don't you kick it off, Richie, and tell us what's going on in your life because I'm going to get this shared out one more time.
Oh, good. All right. Well, this is just like last week when you were. Wait, was it last week or 2 weeks ago when you had to do two live streams for the CRM Arc podcast?
I don't know. Something.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Stream 2.0. I guess this would almost be like 80, show 80.1. Hopefully,
80.1. Nice.
yeah. You know. Wow. Oh God. Oh good. So everything's green on my board now. Thank God. All right. Well. Oh wow. We got 4 people watching. Cool. Welcome everyone. Chris is like sharing it all out again. So hopefully, hopefully I keep you entertained for a little while. Anyway, hopefully we're all not bored.
Hopefully.
It's in- it's interesting because I was watching some dude walk by outside my apartment, and he was like talking to someone who was coming out of his apartment on the second floor,
Mm-hmm.
and he had to justify himself, saying, "I just couldn't like be in the house anymore. Like I was gonna go crazy," which I feel like is crazy that we've gotten to that point.
Right.
I not gonna lie, I do feel slightly guilty for like biking around without my bandana on because I don't want to feel like I'm like gonna rob someone.
Yeah, but that's what everybody's doing now. It's okay to walk into a place all covered up now.
God,
Yeah.
it's interesting. The only bandanas I have are like the ones. I mean, God, we haven't worked together in winter in a long time, but I use those
Mm-hmm.
instead of scarves. You know, kind of like the Boy Scout scarf, except that
Yeah.
mine's just a single color, and then I turn that around.
Nice.
Yeah, and I thought I had an N95 mask in storage, but I did not. So now I'm super sad and learning that all people on Etsy are like swamped. Like I'm not even joking. Like I put in an order at 2 different places, and one of them
Mm-hmm.
is not responding, and the other one just said, sorry, we're just like crazy busy."
Well, I mean, if you follow one of those instructions on folding a bandana and then you're supposed to use like hair ties or something, but if you use like rubber bands or something, you can get it to go around your ears and then hook it up to the
Ah,
bandana. And that's just as good as somebody sewing one because, to be honest, the sewing ones, they're not going to block anything from coming in, but they might
true.
block like aerosols if you were infected and didn't know it and coughed out in the public or something. Then it would block stuff from going out just because it's aerosolized and that's basically blocked. But the actual virus is not blocked from going in or out of the bandana. So
Well, that's
or any of the Etsy masks. So
interesting. I mean, not like it really
yeah,
matters.
it's
I've only left the house literally to whatchamacallit, to like go for a bike ride. Like I haven't been to the grocery store like in over a week. No, like
yeah
almost two
we
weeks.
we ordered groceries on Costco the other day, and hoping
Really?
they would be here yesterday, and they won't be here until Monday to Wednesday. It says.
You know what's interesting?
So.
Rayleigh's. Rayleigh's has something I kept wanting to try but haven't because I haven't needed anything from the grocery store. And
Mm-hmm.
that's their e-cart. Like,
Yeah,
Supposedly, it doesn't add any kind of I have to read more closely, but supposedly it doesn't add any more whatchamacallit, any
any more
like
charge?
smell. Yeah, like Instacart.
Yeah, well, they also don't like deliver it to you either. You have to go pick it up. So,
Oh, I know, but
that's
still,
the
that's
big
better.
difference.
But that's
Yeah,
better than wandering around inside the store, which kind of freaked me
yeah,
out the last time I was there.
I know it is. And Rachel's gone to Save Mart here by us a couple times, and
Oof.
it's I know, and you got to kind of just keep your distance and stuff like that. But I haven't left the house today. We just before this stream, we went for a walk around the lake.
Yeah.
And really, it was so I could try out my new toy I got today for my birthday. But
Oh wait, what'd you get?
tell you in a minute.
Cool.
Um, but we did that, and it was the first time I've been out of the house since Monday.
Wow.
So for like 7. Now I've been out on the porch. We got a little
Yeah.
fire table, and we've had some nice days. I've been out. It's not like I've been outside, but haven't been out of like the house area since Monday when we went to my office to pick some things up. So
Ah. Oh wait.
yeah,
Oh God. Shoot. Did you print out? Can you still like print stuff out, or is
no,
that
they
like?
took the. You mean 3D print?
Yeah.
No, they took the 3D printers because they were doing a huge mass project, and I think I might be out of plastic too because I told them
Ooh.
I left my orange on the machine when I was there last, and they didn't know whose that was, so they just started using it. And and then I told
Yeah.
them I was like, well, you know what? I've got some pink and some green up in my office. Go ahead and use those too if you need to. So I don't know if they did or not. So I might not even have any plastic left. I might have to get some more when we get back to normal, if we ever get back to normal this year. So
Oh my God, that was actually I mean, I was up to a lot yesterday, but there was one thing I was thinking about because
mhm.
you remember what was it? How many months ago was it that Marie Kondo and the whole thing was like, a big thing. Like
It was
her
like a year
whole
or two ago. Like a year ago.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
thing is, like a year ago when she first came out, it was like a lot of people were just treating it as like hipster bullshit, and they weren't like, some people were doing it the whole way through. But now I feel like we've reached a cultural paradigm where, because I was talking about it with my banker neighbor yesterday, and I was saying that, we've reached a point where a lot of people are now, in the past, like, what, 2, 3 weeks since this whole thing started, seeing that there are plenty of things they don't actually need and don't necessarily, like, might not
Mhm.
want after this whole thing is going. And yet,
Yeah.
yet the whole economy and the thing that kept us going through the recent economic surge was buying stuff we didn't need.
Right.
And
Right.
and the thing is, even if we reopen up the economy, will it really matter if like all that discretionary spending just dries up?
Yeah. I don't know. That's going to be I don't know. It's such an unprecedented sort of circumstance. It's hard to predict. When things go back to normal. But here's the thing too. We're
Yeah.
talking about things going back to normal and what are things going to look like. But now, I mean, there's so many unknowns for 2020 so far. And what happens if we're like this for several months? What happens if we're like this for the rest of the year? I mean, Burning Man is in the beginning of September, and it just got canceled.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they just announced it on Saturday. So
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
yeah, yeah. Um, so now we're looking at.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. Hang on. Shoot.
Yeah, I
I
know my
keep
picture went
forgetting.
away.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that. Like I was just checking like my episode notes.
Yeah, I see that. You
Yeah.
might have to use your phone to do that.
Oh, I know.
Anyway, yeah, so they canceled Burning Man, and I'm in the Civil Air Patrol, and we use the Reno
Yeah.
National Championship Air Races to have our bigger fundraiser of the year. And I'm just waiting for that to get canceled because it's 2 weeks after Burning Man, and it's the same number of people. So
Wow.
um, I just don't think it's going to happen. But looking at that, it's like
Yeah.
sure we might relax some social distancing stuff, but we're finding two things out when that happens. First off,
Yeah.
Wuhan, China just went back to work this week, and now they're finding an increase in the number of cases. They opened everything up, people flooded the streets and the subways, and
Yeah.
now they have a rapid increase in the number of cases. And now they're finding some people in South Carolina who were infected and recovered and are now infected again,
Wait, really?
and they didn't even know that was possible. So
Oh.
the everything is so up in the air on this that we don't know how it's gonna impact our daily lives in the next few months.
Wow. Oh my
It's just
God.
hard to predict. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I mean, we can theorize and say, hey, if we are all magically able to be out in the public
Yeah.
in 30 days, sure, what does the economy look like? But that is a fantasy land, you know.
Ah.
Um, Fauci, the infectious diseases guy, he's saying that
Yeah.
nobody should we shouldn't relax any social distancing measures until there's a vaccine or a treatment, and we're ways off from that. So
Wow.
you know, it's it's tough to say how things are going to proceed. Just
My
don't know.
God. Because, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, like a lot of people, like, I mean, I was reading a mutual friend of ours was like, saying, was basically refusing to apply, was like, initially refusing to apply for unemployment, and
Mm-hmm.
then suddenly, decided to try, but this person, that's not the important part. This person was like very confident that once all the infrastructure projects started going, that suddenly everything we bet, that, we'd all be back in the field. But I feel like that might not happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
actually another
Who
thing I was
knows?
going to talk about. Because, it's like, all these infrastructure projects makes, will it mean an increase in business, or will Trump try to get around all the regulations and, like, try to shut all that down and just, like,
Yeah.
just go?
I know. We just did a recording of the CRM Archaeology podcast, which will be out April 22nd, I think.
Ah.
And I feel like I should have a quicker turnaround on these things because everything changes so quickly.
Oh, I know.
But it's 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 tough to say because we were talking about that and we're like
Yeah?
trying to predict, well, what does CRM look like when all this kicks back off again? But see, here's the thing: if we, like I just said, if we start back up in May, we'll probably just pick up where we left off. The whole world will. But if we start back up in July, August, September, at some point, people are just not going to start projects like construction projects. All kinds of stuff are gonna drop down. People are just not going to do them
Yeah.
because winter's going to start back up again, right? And then now
True.
you've got archaeologists that have been out of work for 9 months that are going to be out of work for a year plus. And
Yeah.
it's they've extended unemployment benefits, but
True.
is it going to be enough? Trump's talking about doing another stimulus for workers, but I just don't know if it's gonna cut it. And I'm not trying
Interesting.
to be a pessimist, but you got to
Yeah?
look at all sides of the coin here, and it's like
Ah.
the worst possible outcome, which I think
Yeah?
we'll get some version of this, but the worst possible outcome is so many archaeologists, especially new ones in the field, realize the massive instability in this field. And I mean, we had instability before this all started, so
True.
they realize the massive instability in the field and get other jobs when the economy opens back up. They find other work, and they're like, you know what, this
Uh,
just isn't going to work for me. And then we have a lack of people to fill jobs, and that's going to be a huge problem
yeah.
because we're already on shaky footing with regulatory agencies, right? Like there's
That's
so many
true.
people trying to gut the National Historic Preservation Act and the National Environmental Policy Act,
Of
NEPA and
course.
NHPA, and all it would take is a little bit of resistance from us because we can't complete projects because we don't have enough people, and
Yeah.
timelines are pushed back for construction firms to start lobbying to relax those regulations that even require us to be there at all. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's the worst case scenario, and I don't think that's going to happen in the exact same way that I said, but I
True.
think some version of that could happen, which would suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyway,
God, it makes me wonder. God, maybe I should become an essential worker, even though I don't
yeah,
necessarily want to.
which means work at a grocery store apparently.
Huh.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I forgot if we talked about this last week, because I definitely talked about it with one of my neighbors, and I was
yeah.
saying that when they originally came, because like the past 2 years, the whole resistance to increasing minimum wage is that was basically for high school students to like for their after school job, but that's not the real that's not the original reason that the minimum wage came about. The whole point of minimum wage was that a person working like a waiter job or at a grocery store could afford to live. That was the whole point of
Mm-hmm.
it originally. And
Yeah.
suddenly, and it basically got twisted over the years, and now I feel like we might be heading back that way. I might be wrong.
I don't know. I don't know. It's again, there's no way to predict any of this.
I know.
So yeah,
You know what
but
I was? Oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was thinking about it yesterday. It was one of those things I wrote down. Like there are certain companies, obviously, in the during normal times, getting to a hospital is hard. But
Right.
now, like with companies sending people out to like when we were down in the Southern California desert last month, they
Mm-hmm.
were saying that the closest real emergency room was like what, San Bernardino?
I think so. Yeah, the
And
closest
it's like,
trauma center.
yeah, and how responsible is it for companies to still be sending people out during this time? Because
Right.
like if you've read Archeo Field Text, you know that there's still companies sending people out and still trying to get people to drive cross country
Yeah.
for all
Yeah.
this. It's just like, is that realistic or responsible at all?
It makes me wonder. people are not trying to really look at their hiring practices, because there was one I saw that you might be referring to where somebody was talking about driving across several states and asking
Yeah.
if there were any limitations or restrictions on that. And I'm like, okay, so what happened? Did the company actually have a hiring, and this is somebody they've never worked with before, and they
Yeah.
gave them the job and didn't really care where they were coming from, just said be here at this time? Is that the case, or is this a long-term employee? One of those people they've always had on call, and they just gave them a call and said, "Hey, we got a job," and again, did not check and see where they live, or where they happen to be at the time, because it seems like companies need to be in this time period a little more responsible with that and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
listen, we can only hire you if you're in the state right now, or don't have to travel far,
Yeah.
or something like that." And that might limit their options, but I honestly don't really think so. If they just advertise properly and get on all the right places, then they can find the people in their local area,
Yeah.
to do the work. So,
I mean, it
um,
doesn't keep, I mean, like, how many companies have we seen in California that advertise for local only text because the company's too cheap?
well, honestly, I think from a business standpoint, I think companies in California can afford to advertise for local only text, because
Yeah.
why bid up a project with hotel and per diem if you've got a pool of 1,000 people sitting around you that can do it? I mean,
Exactly.
they don't need to. They're not being cheap. They're just being smart. you
Yeah.
know if they're going to be competitive, because there's a lot of companies in San Diego, or at least that work in San Diego,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of field techs that live and work in San Diego. So if I'm going to bid on a project and I want to
Yeah.
hire in out of city area people,
Yeah.
and I have to add per diem and well, basically per diem to the project. I mean, you're gonna take a 2 week project and you're gonna increase it by $10,000 because you added per diem, and all of a sudden you're gonna be underbid by a company that doesn't have to do that. So it's not
Yeah.
being cheap; it's just playing the market. And there's so many
Yeah.
people down there that they don't need to concern themselves with hiring people out of city, and people that need per diem. So
Although, what was it? That person we're referring to on Archeo Field Text. Weren't they mentioning that they were going to go to that they were going to, like, was it South Dakota, North Dakota, one of the Dakotas? And it's like, how
mhm.
many local field techs could there possibly be there?
Yeah, probably not that many.
I mean,
Yeah,
even, the closest you could do is like Montana, or like maybe one of the Midwestern states, and you still have to drive all
yeah,
across a state.
hmm yeah. That's
Interesting.
true.
Because
True.
I
So,
remember listening to the latest episode of CRM Fuel Techs, and I know, or CRM Arc podcast, and
hmm
I know that one of your hosts was mentioning that they're bringing like a professional cleaning crew to like clean the motel and everything, which is all fine and good. But that also made me think, what about the local hospitals? Because
right.
that's literally the first thing that popped in my mind. Because it's like, yeah, you can clean the hotel, but what if they bring it with them, and suddenly, they're fine one day, and then suddenly they crash the next day? Because that seems to be the pattern with the
Yeah,
coronavirus. And it's just like suddenly you're like how many like hours away from someplace, and the ambulance doesn't want to come or whatever.
right, right.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously they'll come.
No, but you're right though. I mean, we could be in a position where that's a factor. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So we gotta be conscious of those things, and companies need to be conscious of those things, because
Ooh.
that's the thing that nobody's factoring in, is emergency services, right?
Yeah.
And as somebody in the Civil Air Patrol, it's something I'm acutely aware of, because I saw one of my friends post on Facebook today. He said they went and got picked up food at a drive-through somewhere, somewhere at a drive-through, and
Yeah.
he looked in through the window, and none of them were wearing PPE, and none of them were wearing gloves or masks or anything like that. And he's like, "How is that okay? And yet I can't park next to somebody at a trailhead, because they've closed off all a bunch of stuff like that too." And he's just not getting it, right?
Yeah. Because
Um,
obviously they're
because
in a city. They're near a hospital.
right. Well, first off, they're in a city near a hospital, so they have access to those things. But
Yeah.
also, second, they should have been wearing gloves. They should have been wearing masks in the
That's
in
true.
the in the drive-through. I think so. But what he's not understanding about parking out next to somebody in a trailhead, that's not the issue.
No.
The issue is not parking near someone. The issue is being on the trail and getting
Yeah.
hurt, and then having other people rally around you, because that's what humans do. And
Yeah.
then also having to call out an ambulance, and if you get lost, having to call out search and rescue personnel. And now you've got 500 people potentially looking for you, or helping you, and passing this virus amongst themselves, because they don't even know they
Exactly.
have it,
I mean,
and then taking it back to their family.
yeah. I mean, God. I mean, how many first responders have gotten sick over this?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, especially at the
You know?
beginning.
I know my brother is a first responder, and he's honestly, he's one of those people that just doesn't get it too, which is kind of funny. Him and his extended family, his
Yeah.
own family. He's got two kids and his wife, and then
Yeah.
his in-laws live right down the road, and they live in Eastern Washington, and they're going on all these hikes and stuff, and they're
Yeah.
probably going on a hike every other day or something because nobody's working, and well, his wife
Yeah.
doesn't work anyway, and his kids aren't in school, and his in-laws don't work anymore, so
Yeah.
so he's the only one that basically is working, but he actually was thought to be exposed to the virus a few weeks ago, and
Yeah.
was put in lockdown because he's a firefighter. So they were on a call where somebody had it, so they just locked everybody down. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's off again and if he's going back to the fire station or not, but either way, he's at a high risk of exposure, and yet he's around them, and then everybody's going out hiking and stuff, not realizing that the problem is not hiking, the problem is
Yeah.
getting hurt, and the
Yeah.
problem is what if your 10-year-old son gets injured and you've got to call in a helicopter or search and rescue personnel or somebody and to help him. I mean, that's just it's insane. It's totally insane that people don't look at it that way. So,
Well, it's
and it's
like
really is only a few months too. It's only a few
yeah.
months probably. So I think
Yeah.
we can handle
Well, see, you say that, and yet my neighbor yesterday, who is a Democrat, was very, 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 very angry at Steve Sisolak for closing down the our governor
it.
for
Oh, really?
closing down the golf courses. He's like, God damn it! Like, it's just a round of golf. Everyone stands so far apart, and like it literally made him so angry. I think he might like almost like vote for someone else just because it's just like the worst thing in the world to not be able to golf.
Well, and then
It's just
he's not realizing that there's a team of people that make that happen. There's people that have to come in and work and make sure that everything runs smoothly. And again, it comes down to what if you get hurt?
yeah.
You know,
Well, for
so
me, I was saying that it's less for him and more for the workers, and he just like dismissed that on a hand. Like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
all right, fine.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I should probably start, pushing buttons and seeing if anyone is still sending out a fuel crew, just because money. But at the same time, I'm like, man, do I really? Because that was really I felt like that was very harrowing when we went out last month,
Hmm.
even though it didn't seem that serious at that point. So I can only
Right,
imagine how much more serious it would seem now.
right, right. Yeah.
Eh, And the company, the one company that had been in contact with me, they're like one of the more notorious companies for not allowing you to use your own personal vehicle.
Hmm.
You know, unless
Yeah.
unless you want to take you had this problem when you and Rachel first got to Reno, and she was like, what, driving your Forerunner out the project. That way, at least one of you could get per diem for driving out. We're not gonna mention
Yeah.
the company,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it makes me wonder if that policy is still in place, because I would almost be willing to take that pay cut just to drive my own vehicle out.
I know. I know. Well, I don't know if they're working at all or not, but yeah, that was a while ago when they weren't too used to shovel bums for some reason, and I don't know if that's changed or not, but uh, yeah. And to elaborate on that policy, so we were heading out to, God, that particular trip. I think it was out to either Winnemucca or Ely because
Ooh,
we did two projects. We did both those places with them.
yeah,
I can't remember which one it came into play. Probably both of them, but
yeah.
in fact, it would have been both of them. But anyway, for us to get basically, it was either per diem. It was paid hourly for that time, right? To drive from
Oh,
the office to the job site, basically to the
yeah,
hotel. And in order to get paid for that 5-hour drive, you had to be in the work vehicle. And most people, they said, just drive in the work vehicle and take like a backpack full of clothes and nothing else, and they just use their per diem to eat out or buy groceries every day. And I'm like,
that's crazy.
I was like, are you actually kidding me? Do you guys know how to be field archaeologists, like, and work and live in a hotel? Um, so for us to bring our vehicle out there, and for one of us to get paid, one of us had
Yeah.
to sit in the vehicle, and the other one drove our truck, and then didn't get paid for it. So it was totally wacky, just a wacky policy. And
Man,
I understand a little bit, because people always say that to be
yeah,
covered under their insurance, you have to be in their vehicle. But you know what?
yeah,
When I had insurance for my company, I still have insurance for my company, but I have insurance for my
yeah,
company, and then I did a few big projects, one of which you were on, and I had vehicle insurance. I never heard anything like that. Like, nobody
no,
ever told me anything about that. Like, I just it doesn't make any sense. Like, I can pay
Yeah.
I could pay you right now sitting in your house to do some work for me. And it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what happens in your house or what you're doing. It really doesn't. You know, I mean, it just, I don't have to now insure your apartment, you know, or
No.
something like that. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I appreciated it if you did.
Well, I mean, hey, trust me, I wouldn't turn it down either. But you know, it's I think what it comes down to is some lawyer
Yeah.
told them that they could be sued if they're forcing someone to go out in their own vehicle and then paying them to be in their vehicle, and then their vehicle gets in a wreck, then they
Ah.
could be sued. So if you're worried about getting sued, then I guess that's probably a problem. But
Yeah.
um, otherwise, man, I'd like to see that in writing, you know, for what that policy is. So
Oh, by
yeah,
the way, you mentioned a project, out in the desert that might be coming up soon at some point.
yeah,
And originally, I mean, I'm still probably just gonna buy a bigger tent, because
yeah,
because even the one thing about my current setup, I mean, people, I can't like show them my current setup, but it's a very sturdy canvas tent that's meant for winter camping. And the last two
yeah.
times I was on a California project where I had to camp, like when we were in Lake County, my God, that thing was so hot.
Your canvas tent.
Yeah, and the thing is that if we're gonna be camping in the Southern California desert, I don't want to wake up with a rattlesnake next to me, because because in order to combat the hot weather in Lake County, I basically kept the doors open all night.
Well, and doesn't yours isn't yours not have a floor too?
Yeah, so
Does it
I
have
was
a
looking. Yeah, so I've been looking up alternative sleeping methods, and
yeah.
realizing that I can finally, maybe if that the project does happen, I could finally get a good summer tent.
There you go.
Because
There
there's
you go.
because there's one tent I've been looking at, but it's also a long story. But I've also been looking on Craigslist to see what sort of campers or trailers are available. And one of
Mm-hmm.
those things I've discovered is that people are dumping trailers really cheap, really good,
Yeah,
lately.
they
Like I
are.
was
They
looking
are.
yesterday at what was it? A 2016 trailer that had been used twice, and it was like, it was very nice and almost brand new. It had like a bathroom and like an actual shower in it,
Nice.
and they were selling it for like $4,400, and it's just
Oh
over
yeah.
in it's just over the hill, like I forget what town that is. It's the one that starts with an R. You know, when you
Yeah.
pass Auburn, there's like a town that starts with an R, and it's there.
Roseville.
And yes,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, my God, that's almost. I mean, if I didn't feel like if it wasn't gonna be such a hassle to store it, I'd almost buy one.
Well, I saw. So let me tell you two things.
Yeah,
Well, let me tell you three things. So first off,
yeah,
if and when we do, I don't want to say if. It's just the guy that told us about that project. He's always a little bit flaky. You know him. But so I'm gonna say if.
yeah.
But
See,
if we do that project, um, we're almost definitely going to buy a camper. And
ooh,
because we've wanted one for a while, that'll be a good
yeah,
excuse. I don't want to stay in a hotel room. Depending on where it's at, I mean, we're just going to get a camper, and we're going to get
yeah,
something that my my criteria for that camper, at a minimum, are
yeah,
definitely a shower, because if we're going to stay
yeah,
in it long term, I'm going to want a shower. It's got to be less than 3,000 pounds total weight,
yeah,
because it's probably going to end up being closer to 4,000 pounds with stuff in it and water,
yeah,
things like that. And I need to be able to pull it with a truck. Now my truck has a towing capacity of 6,500 pounds, but I know for a fact that my truck, towing my boat full of fuel with stuff in it, is pretty
yeah.
close to 5,500 pounds or so, and
Yeah.
it struggles, really struggles.
Oh,
And
well, like Craigslist. You should definitely check out Craigslist, because I've been literally been looking at Craigslist every day.
well, here's the other thing I was going to tell you. Craigslist is a good place to look, but
Yeah.
one place where you can really sink a lot of your time
Yeah.
is the RV Trader app for your phone.
Ooh.
It is fantastic. It's a really great app. It's really
Yeah.
structured well. Allows you to really drill down into what you're looking for with different filters and
Yeah.
stuff. But I'll tell you one thing: don't go to RV Trader on the internet online, because their
Oh,
website is total garbage. They've
interesting.
got a whole bunch of sponsored posts at the top and ads, and it gets really confusing on what you're actually looking for and what you can see.
Wait, I'm
And the
looking this up
search
now.
isn't as good. Yeah, but the app for my iPhone app for RV Trader, it's so fun. Like I sometimes go in
Ooh.
there and just I say, well, let me see. Like sometimes I want to know, like
Oh,
we want
there it
to
is.
we're looking at campers, but I also want to look at stuff like Class A motorhomes too, right? And
Ooh.
so sometimes I'll say, okay, well, obviously I'm going to get something used, and obviously I'm going to get
Yeah.
something at least a few years old, because I can't afford a $500,000 RV. So but you know what I do? I look at the
Yeah.
2020 half a million dollar RVs first, because then I have
Ah.
then I have like a baseline, and
Yeah.
I know what brand new looks like today, and I know what's available,
Yeah.
and then I can step back in the years and look at the different technology and what I want to get, and then
Yeah.
see what I can afford. Because if we go full time in a Class A,
Yeah.
we're going to do something with our house here, and if we go full time living in it,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm comfortable spending. I don't have to get a loan, obviously. I mean, we can put some down, but
Yeah.
I'm comfortable spending between probably 50 and 100 grand on one, and
Ah.
just for something, because if you're going to live on it, it's like buying a house, right?
Yeah.
So you got to look at it that way. But if we get a camper, that's going to be kind of a stepping stone to that. So my
Ah.
camper type price limit,
Yeah.
and I do this just so I can search and see what's out there. So I usually put in a limit of about 15K, but honestly, I don't think I want to spend more than about 10.
Yeah.
But when we get one, I want to get one that has a shower, like I said. It's
Yeah.
got to have obviously cooking facilities and stuff, but
Yeah.
also a bed that you don't have to put away every day, because some of the smaller ones have like the Murphy bed kind of thing where you have to flip
Yeah.
it up to get to your couch. I
That's
don't
the one I
really
was
want
looking at
that.
yesterday.
I mean, that's okay. I would
Yeah.
deal with it if I found a good deal on one, but
Yeah.
honestly, it's kind of a pain in the ass, and I don't really want to do
Oh, I
it.
know.
So if I don't have to, I don't want to.
Well, see, the main thing for me, I don't care about that as much as I just care about having a separate shower, not one of those combo bathrooms, which grosses me out.
Oh, I know. Boats have that a lot. Yeah.
I know that. Ugh.
Um, Yeah, I haven't seen too many of those in trailers and RVs, but definitely see them in boats all the time, where you basically just take the
Ah.
faucet off the sink and put it up on the wall.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I mean, there's $250,000 boats out there that have that as their shower. That's like a feature. So
Really?
yeah, but anyway, so
Yeah.
we're definitely gonna do that, and if we do that, and you haven't made a decision by then, I was gonna tell you, man, you can use our REI
Ooh.
tent. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Ah.
So
Well, the thing is that this was gonna be like my. I mean, it's a very long story, but my original envisioning, because like years ago, I had like a giant tent that I was gonna use as my office, and then my little squat little canvas tent was like my sleeping tent. But the
hmm
big tent I got was it just didn't really work. And the one I was looking at was like, wow, this is like super awesome. And it's like and it's surprisingly cheap. Like there's like a canvas tent maker. God, I forget the name. I saw I saw when I was working for a company from Utah that a lot of the field techs were using it. They were using like the little 1-person tent, and that's garbage.
yeah,
Especially
yeah,
since for only $200 more, you can get a 6-person tent. And my idea
yeah.
was that, I would, for at least winter projects, I would bring both tents. And so one tent, I would set up my office. I'd, have like a little swivel chair, like one of the hunting
hmm
ones, and then my table that I haven't used since I don't have a tent big enough, and just like, film episodes in there.
Nice.
Yeah. In fact, I might
There you
still
go.
do that if we go to Southern California. I'll still probably bring it in, like whatchamacallit, do that.
I guess it depends on where we're going to be, though. That's the real big thing right there. Is
Well, because you mentioned
you know,
camping, I'm like, oh, neat. I can. It's an
well,
excuse.
I've only mentioned it because I'd really like to do it, and I know there's a lot of open BLM land out there, and I would hope that we'd be able to just stay on site.
Yeah.
That would be nice and convenient. Just roll out and go.
Yeah.
Although, I remember when we did that for that other company we worked for down in
Yeah.
Eureka, and I'll tell you what, the crappy thing about that was the crew chief wasn't super cool about it. And I remember surveying across our campsite one time and thinking, man, it'd be great if we could just take break here right now.
Ah.
So, but hey, can I do my show and tell now?
Oh yeah, do it.
Yeah. All right. So let me. I'm actually going to turn off my virtual background for a second here,
Ah.
just because I think it's going to mess up what I'm doing. So you're going to see my messy, not messy, I guess, but
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. It just says recording on there, at least on my end.
yeah, it says it on my side too. I'm recording to the cloud, so we have it.
I wonder if that's one of their
Um,
security updates.
no, it shows people all the time when you're recording. Yeah.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah. So, and my wife is watching TV. You can see her feet. Her feet are right over here, and the TV is up over here.
Ah.
But anyway, she bought me.
Yeah.
She bought me these on Best Buy and had them shipped here. They got here a few days ago because I know when the package came.
Ooh.
And she doesn't even know that I had looked at these. I
Yeah.
saw a video review from somebody who got a pre-sale copy, probably
Yeah.
like 5-6 months ago. But they are the Bose Frames.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just tried this today. Comes in a
Ooh.
nice little box here with a
Yeah.
case, and then you pull the case up, and it's got a pretty much a fancy sunglass style case with a magnetic
Yeah.
closure to it. And then you open it up.
Yeah, and it integrates with
Dark.
Siri. and it's stuff like that, I assume.
Yeah. So basically, I'll get to that
Ooh,
in a second, but
yeah,
let me show you. So they're basically just sunglasses. I
yeah,
could put them on here. Oh, I just turned them on actually. Yeah. So
yeah,
anyway, so they're basically sunglasses, but they're not what I thought they were because I didn't really look at them too closely. Was
yeah.
I thought they were bone conduction headphones.
No,
Like bone conduction was all the rage a while
yeah,
back. But these just have, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but these have three. Let me try to do that. Three
yeah,
speakers in the frames there that are
yeah,
directionally focused into your ears, and
yeah,
there's a little button. There's a little button down on the side here. This little gold button right there,
yeah,
and basically when you connect to your phone or whatever you're using, first off, once you install the software update that comes immediately with them, um,
yeah.
if you hold that button down and turn your head to the right, it turns the volume up, and you turn your head to
Yeah.
the left, it turns the volume down, and that is super
Ooh.
cool. But also, one tap is start, stop, play, pause.
Yeah.
Two taps is next track, and three taps is skip the track. And I haven't
Ooh.
tried this yet, but there must be a microphone in here too because you can answer calls on this.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and for people who are listening to the podcast, we should just mention they just look like regular those like regular Blues Brothers style Ray Bans.
yeah, totally. That's what I described them as. They look like 1980 late 80s Ray Bans.
Yeah.
But these are the Alto frames, and they have one called Rondo or something like that, and those are the more
Ah.
rounded frames too. So if you like the rounded style frames a little better, then you can
Ooh.
get those. Now they're first generation, so
Yeah.
they come in black only, like there's no other colors,
Yeah.
which is fine with me. Some
Ooh.
concerns I have about these. Well,
Yeah.
first off, I thought they'd be heavier. They're not. We just went on a
Ah.
walk. It was about a 30-minute walk, and I didn't even notice them. And I also thought that they'd be super loud, but when you're outside, my wife
Yeah.
couldn't even, unless I cranked them all the way up, my wife couldn't even really hear them. Because we were outside. If you're
Yeah.
inside, of course you can hear them, but I worry
Ooh.
about if you're gonna wear them on like a bus or a subway or something like that,
Yeah.
other people are probably gonna be able to hear what you're listening to. But
Yeah.
but everybody on the bus or subway probably has headphones in anyway, so it's not that big a deal.
True. Well, I mean,
So and
assuming
then I
that
thought, yeah.
I was gonna say, assuming they're sitting close enough to even hear you anymore.
I know, right? Right. Um, and then my next concern was the
Yeah.
uh, was the batteries, because each one of these
Yeah.
sides has a battery in it, which must mean because there's a charging port over here on the side, comes with a
Yeah.
proprietary charging cable, which is also really bad because if you lose that cable, it's not like micro USB. You can't plug them in anywhere else. So if you
Ah.
lose that cable, you're pretty much done. But
Really?
so that must mean because there's speakers on both, so the charging port is over here,
Yeah.
and then that must mean that there's wires running through the frame and housing over to here because there's speakers on this
Yeah.
side too, and you can't charge those independently. You only charge on one side.
Yeah.
So there's these gold-plated hinges, which look really cool. There's no
Ooh.
screws on them, which usually on sunglasses you can tighten that kind of thing up. So I'm wondering how those are going to be over time. Um, and then I guess, and I thought they'd be really heavy too with these batteries, but they're actually not. They are actually really nice. Um, but the only other concern I have, there's two other concerns as far as field work goes.
Yeah.
One is the battery life. I started at 100% and it was down to about a little over 80% when we got back from our 30-minute walk. And I'd actually been running them for about 40 minutes. So 20%
Wow.
in 40 minutes, they're definitely not going to last all day.
Eh.
But you know what? When the speakers fail, they're still just sunglasses.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Oh.
And then the other thing is sunscreen. Sunscreen likes to eat sunglasses, and if you're wearing high SPF sunscreen, I'm worried that these could get
Oh.
ruined by that. And then the final thing is sweat. So if you're out in the desert and your face and head are sweating, what are these little contacts going to do? Are they gonna get
Oh.
wet and then electrocute me with the lithium ion battery in the frames?
Well, I wouldn't say that. They might give you a shock.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but maybe it'll
Yeah.
keep me awake and keep me on track. I don't know. The other
Yeah.
cool thing is when they're
Yeah.
playing, if they're playing like this, and you take you take your glasses off or sunglasses,
Yeah.
and you kind of lay them on the table like that.
Yeah.
Um, Flipping them upside down shuts them off.
Oh, wow, that
So
actually is cool.
yeah, it's super cool. They did a really good job by putting in the motion sensors in here. And the other thing with the motion sensors in here is Bose has got a thing that
Yeah.
it's kind of crappy. They not everybody's utilizing this technology yet, which is a real
Yeah.
shame. It's kind of like when AirPlay first came out, like nothing would work with it.
Ah.
for Apple. But then
Yeah.
now everything has AirPlay. So,
Yeah.
but the cool thing is Bose has an app called the Bose Connect app or Bose AR app. There's two apps. Anyway,
Ah.
so
Yeah.
they've got these AR like augmented reality audioscapes, and they're not
Yeah.
augmented reality in a visual sense; it's from an audio sense. So I've tried them with the headphones I've got on my Bose Quiet Comfort, whatever they are.
Yeah.
They've got motion sensors in them as well, and when you're listening to the AR audio, they start face on, and if it's something that's like
Ah.
a forest scape or something like that, you can turn your head
Yeah.
and the sound changes, right? Like you're looking around in an audio environment. Well, these will do the same exact thing. Now, not incredibly useful because are you going to be using that app outside and just like wandering around? But it is useful in future circumstances where people are actually utilizing that technology, and by putting in the motion sensors, they made it capable of that, but they also gave it the other abilities to, like, as I said, shut them off by flipping it over and then
Yeah.
doing the cool turn up and turn down the audio thing. So um,
Ah.
yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
You know.
uh, yeah.
Wow, it's interesting because I feel like you and I probably watched the same video because I remember listening to also watching a review about them, and he was there's also another video because I know someone else, God, I forget the name, but I know someone else came up with something very similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it wouldn't surprise me, but I will tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I expected. I honestly, I was really excited when I saw them, and I've looked them up before, and but I was very skeptical about the audio quality because, to be honest, they're not going into your ear, and
Yeah.
it's like, so how good can this be? And honestly, at probably 50-60% volume, they sound really great. The volume
Yeah.
is, I mean, it's not crazy loud. It's
Yeah.
loud enough that if somebody's talking next to you, you're gonna have a hard time hearing them.
Yeah.
But it's not super loud in your ears because it's not in your ears, and the tone and everything sounds really good. But if you crank them all the way up, they get a little distorted at the top end when
Yeah.
the volume's all the way up, all
That
the way up
doesn't
on top.
surprise me
So I
that much
think
though.
no, I mean they're crappy little speakers, but they're well done for their size. But don't expect high fidelity audio out of them. Now that being said,
Yeah.
I was listening to music when we were on that walk. Podcasts are a different story. If you're using these for listening to podcasts in the field,
Yeah.
you'll be able to hear people around you because your ears are open. But
Oh.
you can also crank that because voice doesn't distort as easily as music does. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
I think it should be great for that.
Ooh, podcast listening. Oh God, that's interesting.
I know. So
Oh
I
shoot, that
like
made
them
me think of
because
something else, but now I totally forget. Well, keep going.
well, I was going to say I like them because I've used my AirPods in the field, and
Yeah.
I guess the one thing I like about my AirPods is I can use them all day because the case, is a
Yeah.
charger like most wireless headphones.
Yeah.
And I'll put like one in, and then when that dies 2 or 3 hours later, I can pull it out and put the other one in, and then when that dies,
Yeah.
the other one's charged up, and I can just swap them all day long.
Yeah.
So these are going to suck from that standpoint because I can't charge them out in the field. I mean, I could do it at probably a break,
Yeah.
plug them into my external battery or something. That's the other thing. I don't know how long they take to charge. The fact that they probably only last 2 to 3 hours tells me that they probably don't take that long to charge either. So,
Ah.
so that's good. So maybe you can charge them on break enough to keep them going for the whole day, and you
Yeah.
can just charge them every break and keep them running.
Ah.
But the other thing is, with my AirPods, if I don't want to use them anymore or I don't
Yeah.
want them, then I've got to take that case and I've got to put it in my vest, or I've got to put it in my pocket or put it in my backpack. And
Ah.
then where is it at the end of the day? Do I forget to bring it in? My sunglasses? When these die, they're just sunglasses. And I'll
That's
have these
true.
on the full day, so
Oh man,
yeah.
it makes me think of God, like I mean, I don't know if you've been to like Cabela's or anything lately, but it makes me think of those the shooting earmuffs
Hmm.
that they sell that are also Bluetooth speakers now or Bluetooth headphones
Nice.
now. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but it's interesting. You know what? One thing I did notice, by the way, I
Hmm.
noticed that on the video you released today, it's like your most viewed video on your channel so far.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because my other videos. So what Richie's talking about, if you're interested, is go over and check out the. We named the channel Roadster Adventures, but I can't call it that on YouTube as far as a URL goes because YouTube's being real bitchy about that. Um,
Oh.
well, it's my old account, the oldest Google account I've ever had. So I think
Ah.
it's youtube.com/Chris J Webster, or it might be Captain Webby. I can't remember which one it is, but it won't let me change like the name. It won't let me turn it into a branded account. It won't let me do anything
Yeah.
with it. And so anyway, we changed the logo and we changed the display name of it to
Yeah.
Roadster Adventures. And Roadster is the fun combination of my wife and I's last name, Webster and Roadster. But
Yeah.
anyway, if you want to check it out, check it out. Just Google Roadster Adventures, you'll probably find it. But so we released episode 7 today,
Yeah.
which I just called Archaeology in the Desert. And yeah, it's our most viewed because I was able to share it in more places. So I shared it to a few archaeology groups, and I shared it on Twitter and stuff like that
Oh.
because it's basically us recording an archaeology site. And
Yeah.
one of the cool things. Did you watch the whole thing by any chance?
Of course.
Yeah. So one of the cool things about it is, and we were talking about it, like I've never seen this before on another video, and I know some
Yeah.
people may have done it, but I've never seen it. But I
Yeah.
basically threw the drone up in the air after we knew how big the site was, and just
Yeah.
let it sit there for like 10 minutes
Oh,
while
I
we
saw
were up
that.
recording. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was rock solid. It was even a little bit windy out, not crazy windy, but it was rock solid. Just watching us record, and I didn't.
Which is
obviously
amazing
put-
how far we've come. Like I remember, was it in Lake County when we were working in Lake County, and one of the archaeologists had like what was then the most advanced DJI drone, the one with like the fixed legs, and it just like
Oh yeah,
it looked like a
yep, Phantom.
starfish. Yeah.
Yeah,
And now we've come to this point, and that was like not cheap. And now we've come to the point where was it the DJI Mini cost like what, $300?
yeah. It's like 400 without the extra package, I think, and it was
Ooh.
just. Yeah, and on it's so small. I mean, I've got it sitting under my desk at my feet right here, and whereas the one I had before this was bigger
Yeah.
than my carry-on suitcase. So
Oh, I
um,
just had the craziest thought. If for nothing else, like people always complain that you can't use drones on survey, but for nothing else, you can at least use that to like get a plan view of a site.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be so good because there's so many sites that if it's bigger than probably
Yeah.
40 meters across or about 120 feet or so, if
Yeah.
it's bigger than that, you're not going to get a good site overview picture, which you're required
No.
to take by standing on the end of it. I mean,
Yeah.
just having an overhead picture will give you a nice, good, clear view. Now, the one downside to an overhead picture, I will tell
Yeah.
you, because in the video, when we're recording, now
Yeah.
I sent the drone way high just so we could get a good perspective, right? I wasn't really thinking of site overview pictures, but I sent it
Yeah.
up really high. But these drones, most of them, the built-in camera has such a crazy aperture setting on that
Yeah.
and field of view that you have to be really high up in order to see a wide
Yeah.
area of view. So in
Yeah.
order to see this
Ooh.
entire site, in fact, near the end of the video, when I'm really more centered over the road,
Yeah.
which is kind of similar to the background shot that I just snatched on the screen right here, because the site
Yeah.
was on both sides of the road. What's the one thing you can't see in that picture? You can't see flags.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true too.
We're too high up, so you can see flags inside overviews usually. But then again, I'm like,
Yeah.
who cares about that? Because you can't tell where the flags are in association with each other. So is it really
True.
that big of a deal? But I know that's going to be the complaint. If somebody were to see this as an overview, they'd be like, "Well, where's the site?" And I was like, "Okay, well,
Oh.
this is the overview, though. This is where the site is. Don't worry about where it's at."
Yeah, but
you
they sell aerial targets for drones for like photogrammetry.
Yeah.
Probably just lay all those down.
Well, you're totally right.
Yeah.
What you would do is you would lay down like a bullseye type of target everywhere you had an artifact, and that would be just an extra thing that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I'm not too concerned with that. Like I would rather take this oversized this overview image, and then if
Yeah.
you really wanted to go nuts with it, you could use it as the background for your sketch map.
Yeah. Oh, that's
You'd
true.
have to digitize it. You'd have to get it in and georeference it and digitize it, but that's not that hard.
No.
And especially if you have some features like this one had that road in it. So if you had the road mapped in, which we did,
Ah.
of course, you'd be able to overlay this on the road pretty easily because there's 2 cross streets, and then
Oh.
position it in space and then have your artifacts just show up. So
Well, also it would be much faster than walking or trying to guess a site boundary on the ground. Like
Mhm.
you would literally just need that photo, and then you would get the road in maybe, and then any
Yeah.
features or artifacts, and that'd be it. Like you'd cut down a lot of time for not
Yeah,
much money.
totally. No, I mean this drone sets up in about from the time it takes me to pull it out of the box or pull the box out
Yeah.
to the time where I'm actually turning on and flying it, because if I'm totally down and I've got to hook my phone up, screw on the sticks, pull the
Yeah.
whole thing out. I mean, it's less than a minute. And
Ah.
that's not that big a deal. It's really not
Ooh.
that big a deal. So
Interesting. And there are
Yeah.
plenty of like I just bought a backpack now, like a new hiking pack. you
Mm-hmm.
know, that I don't know why, but it makes me suspicious because it's been recently discontinued and like new ones are like flooding the market. So, it's
Right.
like because I've got like my the pack I bring with me to the collective when I do my live stream,
Mm-hmm.
and then I bought one from the same company that has an integrate that basically has a photo compartment at the bottom, and then the upper compartment is basically for hiking supplies and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's got an
It's
integrated. The main thing that mattered to me was I had chest strap and a rain cover.
okay.
Because that's the one thing that the
Yeah.
pack I bring in the collective does not have, and it like freaks me out whenever I think about trying to bring that in the field,
Yeah,
especially if
I
it's
can
full
see
of
that.
camera equipment.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
God, like I'm not sure what everyone else is doing to keep themselves busy, but I was really, really, really doing well with like going into all these sites and like exploring them from an archaeologist point of view, and I didn't really want to stop. And so what I did
Yeah.
was I Googled up a whole bunch of sites and websites, and there was one website. Hang on, let me bring it up. God, hang on. That basically had a whole bunch of walking tours of Reno. It's
Nice.
called renohistorical.org. It hasn't been updated
Okay.
in about a bajillion years, but the one walking tour I did pick because I live here is Midtown, and they're like
Mm-hmm.
apparently 30 sites. And I also combined that with the fact that I finally found all the right settings for my DSLR because it used to output really good video, but modern video editing programs do not like it.
Mm-hmm.
But or at least they don't like it the way I had it set up for when I was editing
Right.
it years ago. And
Yeah.
now finally I've got it back up and running, and I went and like tried to record a video yesterday. It took forever because my camera does not do B-roll. I'm not sure how you shoot B-roll, but the way I shoot B-roll for people who are wondering at home is I ramp my GoPro up to 120 frames a second and then slow it down to 24 frames a second when I bring it in.
Mm-hmm.
That way, I only have to like take like 15, 30 seconds worth of B-roll, and then I'm done. And then I just stretch it out. And it also eliminates shake from like
Ah,
if I'm hand holding it eliminates shake, or if I've got it on a not steady tripod, I've got it eliminates shake that way. But yesterday, I literally had to do all my B-roll because the whole video is going to be B-roll and me narrating. I literally had
right.
to do it in real time. So I, so I was out there. So what should have taken maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes took me over 4 hours yesterday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the results were beautiful. Like, wow, I could not I'd like it's like, wow. This was a surprisingly good investment considering how long I've been using this DSLR.
Nice.
But it
Nice.
also did freak me out because it did start raining a little, and that
Yeah.
DSLR
Yeah.
is not weatherproof in any way.
Right. Right. Yeah, that is that is the challenge. And no, I'll try that with the B-roll because usually
Yeah.
we haven't been, we're pretty new at this thing. So,
Yeah.
we've really
Well, that's
just
the
been
reason why I love GoPros. Like they do
yeah,
120 frames a second.
I know. And I've got two of them now. And
Yeah.
so but really what we've been doing is we've been each taking, and we actually were straight into lockdown like right after I bought the second one, so we really haven't had a chance to really utilize them. But
Yeah.
um, the cool thing is we're able to basically each have a camera and then walk around and do our own thing, and we're just kind of shooting video. But I haven't really thought about.
Yeah.
I have before we got the second one, I was deliberately shooting some B-roll just to get B-roll.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about speeding it up, and I might have to try that because we do have time lapse mode, but that's not
Yeah.
really the same thing, is it?
No.
It's really
No.
jacking up the frame rate on the normal
Yeah.
recording.
And the thing is, if you shoot at 100, depending on the editing program you use, like I use DaVinci Resolve, so I can
Yeah,
basically, it handles the footage. Like even if it's 120 frames a second, I drop it in the timeline, it'll still export it as 24 frames a second, so it doesn't matter.
yeah,
The
yeah.
main thing is that I can slow it down as much as I want, well within
Right, right.
reason. So
Okay,
so basically it gives you like options,
okay.
which is why I've been looking for a DSLR that'll at least do 60 frames a second in 4K because that's actually surprisingly hard.
Sure,
Because
sure.
after going around yesterday, I thought, wow, I really, even though I love doing GoPros, but it's not very practical for being in town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, because
Hey,
yeah.
speaking of editing software, real quick, you were mentioning
Oh yeah, I was gonna
yeah,
ask you about that.
LumaFusion for iPad, yeah. So I checked it out, and I was actually gonna I screwed
Yeah,
up. I was actually It's a $30 app for iPad.
yeah.
and I was, which is, I mean, a steal for good editing software. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, even if I don't like this, it's going to be, half decent for $30.
Yeah.
I intended to use my Apple Cash because since I got an Apple credit card last August when they came out,
Yeah.
I haven't really
Oh.
used any of it. I've got like $200 worth of Apple Cash because you get like 1 to
Yeah.
3% back for everything you buy. So
Ah.
it builds up, and except I screwed it up when I actually bought the app, and it wouldn't let me convert to switch to Apple Cash. It just took it off my credit card, so so I paid
Yeah.
$30 regular for it. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've got the first generation iPad Pro 12.1 inch. So when they first came out, actually, I don't know if they had come out with another one. It was about a year after they came out, and I don't know if that's a
Ah.
second gen or not. But either
Yeah.
way, that was still what, 4 years ago, 3, 4 years
Yeah.
ago. And I wasn't sure how it was going to run because video editing is typically seriously resource intense, as you know.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I like it. It
See?
works.
Oh.
It works really well. It had a lot of
Ooh.
inputs. I was able to pull right up, and I wasn't able to hook my lacy rugged drive into it because I've got a
Yeah.
new one with USB-C, and then
Yeah.
it's got a regular USB cable. But turns out I don't think the dongle that I have that hooks to the lightning jack on my iPad that has
Yeah.
USB regular USB 2.0, I think it's at my office, so I haven't
Oh.
been able to try that.
Oh wait. So you can't just do AirDrop for
Well,
footage?
so yes, you could, but it would take forever because I was importing
Oh.
like 4 gigabytes worth of footage. And
Oh.
AirDrop isn't the best when you're doing that high of and this was a small video too. It was actually one file that I was
Yeah.
going to make into a next video for next week, and I'm still going to. I
Ooh.
just haven't had a chance to finish it yet. But basically, we shot about 15 minutes worth of video at Mono Lake on one of our drives down.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to do some. It's all drone footage of Mono Lake, and I'm going to do a little bit
Yeah.
of narration over the top of it and call it good. It's probably going to be like 3 or 4 minutes long.
Ooh.
It's a really super cool shots of Mono Lake.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've just been playing around with it, and I'll tell you what, I was super frustrated at first because learning any new software is like, my God, I know what I need to do, I just don't know what buttons to push.
Yeah. Ooh.
And it's different, but I'll tell you what, it's super responsive. It hasn't bogged
Yeah.
down. I'm able to hit a single button and like rearrange the screen in several different ways, and
Yeah.
I just really like it. And I think as a remote, able to travel with me sort of editing software, and then
See-
using the Apple Pencil too,
Yeah.
it's just, I think it's going to be really good. I really just gotta learn it a little more and use it a little more and get into it. So
Because that's the reason why I was thinking about that, because my what was my heavy duty like editing laptop cannot handle supposedly everyone kept telling me it can handle 4K 60 footage, and they're all wrong. Or either that, or they're just not they're using like something that isn't as well optimized, because DaVinci Resolve is really meant for like the most, the stoutest computers. It's like meant for current gen hardware, not like older hardware like I've got. And
Right,
so
right.
the alternative I was thinking of was like, well, God, do I really want like a third ThinkPad laptop just for editing, or would I rather get something like because I was looking at the iPad Pro they just discontinued, the one they just
Mhm.
discontinued, and it's like what, $500 or something like that on for a recondition on
Nice.
the Apple website. I was like,
Nice.
man, that's like half of what I was looking at for like an editing laptop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that makes a lot. Well, I mean, assuming I ever get back in the field, or
Well,
that anything happens this season.
I know, and the thing I'm looking at too is if we go full time RV.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at you right now on my 27-inch 5K iMac Retina, 5K iMac Retina, and then also my 27-inch Thunderbolt display over here.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm bringing that stuff into full time RVing. It's just.
Yeah.
It's going to be too big. It's going to be too much to handle. I'm going to have to put it away every time we want to move. And where am I going to put them? And yeah, I'm just going to get rid of them. So I use my laptop all the time, and I always use Sidecar, which is Apple's like AirPlay sharing kind of thing, for my iPad Pro. But that's really only because I didn't have the apps on my iPad Pro to be able to use. Because the iPad Pro 12.1 inch, the screen real estate is almost the same as my 17-inch MacBook Pro. So the nice thing is, when you're sitting in the car, like if Rachel's driving and we're sitting in the car and I'm trying to do some work on there, I've got to have a lap tray down, and I've got to have my iPad, my
Ah,
computer sitting on there, and then I can't really move it when there's glare coming in the windshield because you have to have your laptop situated in a certain way to be able to use
yeah,
it. But with the iPad, I mean, I want to convert to doing everything on there, and eventually I will, because I
yeah.
can I can use Aria Pro for audio editing, which is a really great editing program,
Ooh,
and then using something like LumaFusion for this. And then if I do have an external display that I can maybe pack away and not pull out all the time, like maybe I keep this
ooh.
Thunderbolt or something like that, but I can't hook this Thunderbolt into anything. The connections are too old, so I might have to get something else.
Ah,
But you can hook an external display up to
yeah,
your iPad and just
yeah,
use it like a hard drive, and then you can hook up a keyboard and a mouse to it,
yeah.
and just go
Ooh,
to town, and use it like a laptop. So my hope is, and I said this the
yeah,
last time I bought a laptop, but it wasn't true. But
yeah.
I hope that really was the last laptop I ever have to buy, and I'm
Wait,
hoping to just be full iPad.
but you said, oh God, but you said that. How many years ago is that? 7 years ago? You said that?
I've just been wishful thinking, Richie. It's just been wishful thinking, man. But I think we're there, aren't we? There, you have to admit, with the iPad
Yeah,
12.1-inch Pro, and then the
yeah,
new 2020 model coming out this year, or that has already come out this year,
yeah,
with all these things available, with the speakers available, with the recording capability, with
yeah,
the multiple inputs they've opened up with USB-C, and the fact that you can hook a hard drive to it, you can hook a display to it,
yeah.
you can Bluetooth in your keyboard and your trackpad. It really is an all-in-one solution. And then on top
Yeah.
of that, I wish I knew what the name of this company was, but there's
Oh,
a company that makes stuff. They started by making like duffel bags and stuff out of old sails from sailboats. Like
yeah,
people would basically donate them their old sails when they'd rip or something like that, and they would take them
yeah,
and make duffel bags and backpacks, really nice ones. They would take the best part of the
yeah,
sails, clean them
yeah.
up, and they make really cool stuff. And sails are inherently like waterproof, and
Ah,
you can waterproof them and do all kinds of stuff. Well, then they started making floatable iPhone, and well, really not iPhone. They're big phone, like your bigger
yeah.
phones like you've got. And then so it's kind of a one size fits all sort of thing with a clear screen on it, but totally waterproof. It's got
Huh.
waterproof zippers, and
Oh,
has like a 1-inch foam thing in the back. So behind the
yeah.
screen, it's actually, you can dump this thing in the water and it'll sit there and float up and down. And they
Oh, kind
make
of like a
one
Pelican
for
case.
kind of, but totally soft, and
Yeah.
made out of really nice material. And then they also make one for tablets from the 10 to 12-inch size, like a regular
Interesting.
iPad or Galaxy Tab or something like that, all the way up to the iPad Pro. Now they're not
Because,
cheap. Like the
yeah.
tablet size one is like $250, but
Oh, interesting. Because
yeah,
I'm not sure if you were aware of it, but Pelican actually makes backpacks.
yeah, I know. I've seen their backpacks. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they also look really heavy, but it's just me.
Well, and that's the thing. There's two things I like about this other company, and I'm going to try to
Yeah.
look up where they are, because there's one YouTube channel I follow, and they are
Ah.
just nuts over these guys, and so they're probably in every single one of their show notes, which is what I'm hoping.
Ah.
Anyway, the one thing I like about these guys, they're small, they're independent. I mean, they're not Pelican.
Yeah.
They're just somebody else, and they'd be really cool
Yeah.
to try out, and just experience. I'm gonna see if I can find them over here, but yeah. Anyway, it's it's really
Yeah.
cool. I like
Yeah.
I like all of it.
Oh my God! Before we run out of time, because I know we're at an
Yeah,
hour plus, but
yeah, we're
I think
we're
you're gonna
getting
like
high.
next week's because I've been uploading for people who aren't following my channel. I have been uploading once a month, like our previous episodes, the ones that weren't actually live streams.
Mm-hmm.
And next week's episode, I named it what was it? Make Archaeology Great Again,
Nice,
because we mentioned that on the episode, and I think that's the only one, as far as I know.
nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's interesting. God, now I am like the video I recorded yesterday is for August. So literally I am uploading once a week from now through July. Like literally they're all just like they're all just like sitting on various hard drives. I just have to like finish uploading them. It's like
Yeah.
nuts. It's like I feel so productive, and it's like ironic that and I feel like I forget I was talking to you about this or I was talking to someone else. but
Hmm.
I'm starting to get engagement. Like people are actually commenting on my thing on my episodes.
Well, that's
Even
cool.
like episodes I don't necessarily think are that great. Like the one I released this week, like originally it felt more relevant
Yeah,
when we could move around
yeah.
outside. And ironically enough, almost all the B-roll from that episode was from the last time I went on vacation, which was February, and that feels like a world ago that we could like go outside and go to San Francisco and like have good food outside, and not like
I
have
hear
to wear
that.
all the gloves.
Yeah.
I'm also very thankful that I didn't catch anything at that point, because obviously, you know the whole virus was already spreading at that point, and obviously San Francisco was ground zero for it in the Bay Area at least.
Well, I also just saw a note about. By the way, I just linked that
Yeah.
in the Facebook chat.
Oh. Oh, really?
Um,
Oh, let me look it
yeah.
up.
Anyway, I did see a note that said that the virus was probably in San Francisco well before we ever thought it was.
I know. Well, I mean, it
Yeah.
would have to be. It's like, it's like a major airport destination. There are lots of Asian tourists that pass through there, on and on. Oh,
Hmm.
that's a very interesting photo they put up first. Of course, they put that photo. For people who aren't looking at the website.
Yeah. Yeah. But you scroll down on that front page there, you can see they're not
Yeah.
designed for iPhones or iPads. They're designed for tablets and phones of a certain size, right? Um,
Yeah.
it's actually cheaper than I remember. I thought maybe they changed their prices, but the tablet XL, which is what I would need for the iPad Pro,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm talking about. It's $179,
Yeah.
and in fact, there's this they're affiliated with this YouTube channel I follow, so you can get like a 20% discount
Yeah.
code. Um, but it's 179 bucks, and the cool thing is, see, this is
Yeah.
why I want the iPad to replace my laptop, because
Ah.
I can take my laptop on a boat, because I think eventually we're going to have a sailboat, or not a sailboat, but like a motorboat or maybe a sailboat. I don't know, but anyway, we'll have
Yeah.
something like that. But even if we're living in the RV, there's a lot of times when you have an outside sort of environment that you're in, because even if you're inside, you're more inclined to sit outside in an RV and put
Oh,
the
true.
put the awning out and sit out there in your chairs. And I
Yeah.
don't want to have to worry about like working out there on my iPad and running inside for something and then having it start to rain outside or something like that. If my laptop is out there, it's going to be ruined. I mean, straight up ruined if it gets rained
Oh,
on, right?
true.
There's no going back from that. But you can use the tablet in the case, because the case has
Yeah.
the screen on it. And the YouTube channel I follow, which is called Gone with the Winds,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
WINS, yeah, they have really tested these things, and they're not just blowing smoke up people's ass when they say they endorse the usage of these things, because they've talked to them. They've been in contact with them. They've seen them at boat shows and stuff like that. And I think
Yeah.
these guys have even given them a few of them to try out, because they know they're going to talk about them on their YouTube channel. And
Yeah.
they've put them through the paces. And Nikki, the woman, she uses that for her phone, and you see it in all the videos. Like, she actually uses
Ah.
it, and she puts her credit cards and stuff in there too, because it's got holes and spots for that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a little wallet for her. And it's just
Yeah.
I really like that for the tablet
Ooh.
size. And
Ooh.
I just love stuff that's
Yeah.
multifunctional and things like that. That's why I like these sunglasses, because
Yeah.
multifunctional. Because when they
Yeah.
die, they're just sunglasses.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Wow.
yeah, I actually contacted these guys to see if they would maybe send me a review copy for the podcast,
Yeah. And
and then do some advertising. And they said, no thanks, but here's a discount code in case you do talk about it. I was like, oh,
oh
well, that's cool. Thanks. I know I'm not big enough for you guys to care about, but you know,
no, but you should. I feel like you should still buy one and review it because that'll like get the whole thing started.
I probably will. Yeah, I'm just waiting on a
Yeah.
couple things because it's going to be a business purchase. So, but it is $180 because I want to get the one for the tablet. I want to hold off on
Yeah.
the phone-sized one
Yeah.
uh, because I don't know what kind of phone I'm going to have here in 5 6 months.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Oh my god. God.
Anyway,
That is interesting because originally, I was thinking about, one of the reasons I like ThinkPads is because supposedly they're more rugged, but obviously they're only rugged up to a point.
right, totally. Yeah, yeah, they're rugged, but they're still laptops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Is your computer still shutting off once a day?
it's not once a day. It's once every couple days, probably. And
Yeah.
I think there are some. I think. Well, see, I can't even say this because I know that it's shut off when I wasn't even using it before, because I've
Yeah.
come in the morning and it clearly has restarted. Um, But then lately, the times that I've noticed it, unless it's shut off at home here overnight and I didn't realize it, because sometimes I
Yeah.
will put it in power saving mode and it looks like the same as when it shut off and restarted itself. But
Yeah.
every time it's been during a Zoom call the last
Really
few weeks. Yeah,
interesting. I mean, like the one we're having
yeah,
now.
yes, like the one we're having now. It's been during a Zoom call, and because the computer takes so long to recover from that, I've usually
Yeah.
got my iPad Pro sitting in front of me, and usually if I'm on with a client, luckily when I leave the Zoom call, it doesn't shut
Yeah.
down their call. They just
Ah.
keep talking, and I jump in on my iPad real quick because I can switch to my iPad and jump in on Zoom in probably 20 seconds. And
Interesting.
but it'll take my computer about 2 minutes to restart and turn everything back on. So
Ah.
yeah, super
Wow.
frustrating.
My God,
Yeah.
that's kind of like I mean, God, it's kind of like me and trying to get these mixers to work with Windows 10, because apparently it doesn't like any of the firmware.
I'll tell you what, man. I've got some problems, and I don't know if it's the age of this computer or what. Like I said, it's 5 years old and well used, but
Yeah.
I also have a Bluetooth antenna problem because
Oh.
occasionally my headphones,
Yeah.
my keyboard, and my mouse will all disconnect simultaneously and then turn back on immediately.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the
Wow.
Bluetooth cycles, and it's
Yeah.
never turned off completely. And
Yeah.
one thing has never failed. It's always everything. So it's like the
Wow.
Bluetooth just shuts itself off and turns itself right
Yeah.
back on immediately. It just cycles, but cycles long enough to disconnect everything.
You know, I just had like a stroke. I just had an stroke of inspiration because I remember when we were working in Lake County, working with that dude who put his like giant server computer in the back room. You know, and the he had a toy hauler, and he just basically used that as like his server room. And I was thinking, man, you could probably like get a toy hauler and turn that into like an office. I might be
Yeah,
wrong.
probably.
I mean, I haven't looked at it. Haven't actually looked inside a toy hauler, like in
Well,
person.
the one thing I don't like about toy haulers is you really have to set everything up yourself, and you got to bolt it down and do everything in the back. I'd rather have something that's just like a living room. I don't need the whole back end to open up and be
Interesting.
customizable like that. I'm not interested in that at this level for what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want something that's just a nice living room, bedroom, and kitchen area, and enough
Yeah.
space for us to relax in and do what we want to do. Plus, one thing that's very important to me because we want to spend as much time not connected to the grid as possible
Yeah.
is some of the newer like forest rivers and stuff. They come with
Oh, let me look that up.
solar. They come with solar run through them. They might not have solar panels unless somebody has put them on them and you're getting a used one. But they come with the connections on the roof and the wiring down to the battery
Yeah.
compartment where you would hook up all the solar
Oh my
because that's
God.
just one less thing you've got to hook up.
That's the one I was looking. The RV I was looking at that was like $4,400 in Roseville. It's already like set up just like that.
Nice.
But it's
You want?
interesting. Bring it back around to like Mary Kondo. It's like I think one of the things I've noticed about a lot of this stuff I'm seeing
Mm-hmm.
on Craigslist is the fact that people like use these RVs twice, and they had them mostly just to have them, and now they're dumping them because they don't feel like they're necessary to like their life. And it makes me wonder how much of this is gonna like start cratering the not just the RV market, but like all sorts of markets like that because obviously it won't really matter for like the campground and stuff because like the people who are going are probably still going to go. It's mainly just these people who had stuff just to have them. Like how many
Yeah.
people, not just RV, not just campers, but how many people just had boats just to have boats? Like they took it out like in like 10 years they took it out like 3 times and they got
Right.
super
Right.
scared and they're like, this is like a lot of money and it's a lot of hassle and I'd rather just sit here in front of my 65-inch flat screen. Or
Well, I will
alternatively
tell
have
you.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just say I would tell you. I joined a Facebook group because I was looking for different ones, and I don't know if I'll stick in this one or not. But there's a whole bunch of RV Facebook groups for people who are, living in their RVs or doing whatever. But one of
Yeah.
the ones I joined was called "Living the RV Dream," um, and there's a lot of good posts in there about people talking about different things and
Yeah.
in RV life. And somebody posted, I can't find the post right now, but somebody posted about basically wondering about a price on a used RV. They were like, should I offer 20, 30% under MSRP,
Yeah.
for one that's a few years old? What's a good deal? And I saw a few pieces of advice in there. One of them was, first off, somebody knows somebody that works in financing, and they said that they've been flooded with requests for RV loans because lately, because a
Yeah.
lot more people are wanting to get into it because they see it as a
Ah.
way to
Yeah.
social distance. They see it as a way to,
Oh,
yeah, not be. They still want to go camping and stuff over the year, over the
yeah.
summer, but they don't want to go on cruises and they don't want to take planes.
Good for them.
And it's a way to, yeah. So we're having a flood of RVs. But this other guy said in a normal year,
Yeah.
you'll often find over the summer, usually around midsummer, a whole bunch of 1 or 2 year old RVs come on the market because people bought them the year before. And just like buying a brand new house, there's always going to be small manufacturer defects, right?
Yeah.
Um, so the good thing about getting one that's 1 or 2 years old, if you can afford something, because that's still going to be really expensive, but
Yeah.
if you can afford one that's 1 or 2 years old, you're going to get one where somebody already had all the little stuff fixed. He said,
Ooh.
because they had that stuff fixed the first year they had it,
Yeah.
and RVs and camper trailers depreciate super fast. Like
Yeah.
they
Oh
walk off
my.
the lot and they lose 40%.
Yeah, the one I was looking at yesterday, it was $4,400. It is it's one of it's what the hell is the name of this thing again? Forest River.
Yeah,
It's their E Pro. Like I'm looking
yeah,
at the picture of like what I was looking at on Craigslist.
yeah.
It's crazy. Like it's literally like the trail I was looking at, and like I don't know how much they paid for it in 2016, but they used it twice, and now they're trying to get rid of it for $4,400. And I'm like, man, that would almost be worth it ish.
Hmm.
But the thing
Yeah,
is
that E
that
Pro is nice.
yeah. And the crazy part, and like it's fully set up. It even has like the satellite radio dish or whatever, or a satellite TV dish
Nice,
that I don't
nice.
really care about because I don't literally only use the TV for like as a monitor.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Me too. Yeah.
But the thing is that I was evaluating my needs because what I really want to do if I'm gonna be driving around and doing stuff, I want to keep shooting these videos where I explore stuff. And like a lot
Yeah.
of these places are like really far out the beaten trail. It's like, do I really want to leave like my camper like down below in the valley and like drive up, or would I rather just like have a tent and bring it with me
Yeah,
and just
totally.
like camp there? Because obviously
Gotcha.
filming takes like a while, especially since I really want to start upping my game in terms of like, because I've been recording good episodes, but I'm realizing that one of the reasons I keep looking for more cameras, and one of the reasons because originally I was going to get a GoPro 8, but
Hmm.
then I realized it's would I rather have one GoPro 8 or would I rather have two or three more GoPro Hero 4 Blacks or whatever? And that way I can just like set them all up on at various points, get them all turned on, and then just like start walking around. And then and that way I don't have to like do what I do now, which is like set it up, get it recording, record B-roll, move it, pretend I'm walking back through again, over and over and
Hmm.
over again. That's the reason why I haven't been recording enough B-roll because sometimes it just gets like really tedious, and I'm like, God, this is so boring. I'm just gonna like hope that I got enough, and sometimes I got enough, and sometimes I don't.
Right, right. Well, I guess my advice, without ever owning a like the GoPro 4,
Yeah.
because I have two of the Hero 8 Blacks, the stabilization has, from what I've read, gotten way better over the
Oh yeah.
years. And if you only had one of those and used it as like your walking and talking camera or something for Uber stabilization, it wouldn't be the worst thing. And
Yeah.
they're pretty. If you don't need all the accessories, because you probably have a lot of stuff that already hooks to these things, then
Oh yeah.
they're pretty affordable. Even to get a brand new one.
Yeah.
So.
See, I'm trying to like figure out what cuts down the most time. Like more
Hmm.
cameras or one camera that's really super stabilized. And I was thinking, man,
Right.
because the episode got was it June or July's episode that where I was going around Keeler and not that I spent that long in Keeler and Swansea, you know,
Hmm.
like I realized, man, it would have been so much quicker if I had basically because there were sand dunes everywhere, and so I could have just hidden all these cameras and just like had all these like mini tripods, and just like because like the way oh my god, it was so tedious, just like just like
Yeah.
moving it a little, and then moving it here, moving it there. It was just like
Yep.
yesterday. The reason it took 4 hours is because I really wanted to try out my DSLR. I mean, not only because it could only record 24 frames a second, but also because since I had the one camera, I just had to keep moving it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason I
Totally.
was using my DSLR and not my GoPros is because GoPros you can't like zoom. And
Hmm.
I didn't want to be I didn't want to be like in the middle of the street like trying to record with my GoPro. It was just easier
Right.
just to slap a zoom lens on my DSLR and just like record it across the street.
Oh yeah. Totally. Yeah, I hear that.
Like
So.
although there was one point yesterday where I was right next to Sundance Books and like right at the edge of the bike lane, like and people were trying to turn right and moving around me, and I thought this feels really stupid. you know,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
It's like, wow, this feels really dumb,
all
but
right, man.
still, I'm super happy with the footage I got.
Well, there you go. That's all that counts.
My God.
So,
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've been watching. I mean, I know I mentioned this last week, but I'm still completely amazed at some of these urban exploration videos and the 500,000 views they get, and like they don't know anything. I'm like, it's like, oh my God, this is so terrible. Like, I wouldn't even know these videos existed if I hadn't like, if I hadn't been like typing in these places and like found these other
yeah.
videos where they're just like, oh my God, it's like they literally don't know anything. And I'm like, my God, how can you sit there? Like, some of these videos are like an hour long. And I'm like, how are you sitting here? I mean, obviously, I sit through them because I have to,
Hmm.
because I keep
Yeah.
hoping that something interesting will happen. But no, they don't know anything. And they just walk around and they make these comments about, I don't know what this is, but it's cool, or this is weird, or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
and it's just like, my God, like if these dudes can get 500,000 views, hopefully there's enough interest in someone who actually knows what they're looking at. I mean, we'll see, because obviously the first real episode will come out. The first real episode I did, and that wasn't a very good episode, by the way. Comes out at the end of the month. It's when I went around walking around Randsburg, and I was still working on like my delivery, and like what I was gonna say, because like right now I basically have like I know what to record, I know what to say and stuff like that. But at that point, and for at least through maybe May or June, I'm still like working
Hmm.
out what I'm gonna say. I've even trying out like new intros, even though none of them make me as happy as just saying hello, junior archaeologist. Like literally, I've been trying all sorts of other ones, and I realize they sound more professional, but it just makes me happy.
I hear you. Hey, do what you like. That's all that matters. Like I said,
Yeah.
I think you should share your videos out more too. I try to share them when I see them, but I don't always see them
Oh
right
yeah.
when they came out. So, encouraging people to do that, I think is.
Well, I've been doing it on all the social media I have. I haven't been
Hmm.
sharing them, and I'm not a member of as many Facebook groups as I think you are, at least for archaeology. Like I'm only literally only Archaeofield Techs and the other one, the one that's
North
like meant
American
for more
Tech
for
Forum.
East Coast people.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in those obviously, but I'm in CRM project managers and the basic archaeology one. There's two actually.
There are?
As far as I know, yeah, there's one spelled with the AE and there's one spelled EO. And I was kicked out of the one spelled EO about 5 years ago, and I've never been let back in.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
Interesting.
I had sort of a tiff with the owner, and it's more of a British focused one, British run
Ah,
anyway. But they had
yeah.
thousands and thousands people in there,
Ooh,
and they got mad at me because I was posting podcast episodes. It was before I was even running the APN. It was just CRM podcast episodes,
yeah.
and they were mad at me because I was posting links, and they said we don't allow link posting, and I was like, they said without generating conversation. I was like, okay, yeah, but the title of the episode, and if you listen to it, that like generates the
Yeah.
conversation. And they're like, no. And I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? And somebody was just having a bad day, one of the moderators, and they're just like, all right,
Ah.
fine, you're banned. And
Oh,
they banned me from the group, and nobody ever goes back
yeah.
and looks through the banned list and says maybe we should unban these people.
Eh.
So I mean, I can tell you that right now, we banned a lot of people from Archeo Field Techs, and
Oh,
I
really?
literally never go back and look at that list and unban them. Yeah.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I
You know,
don't I don't know that we've banned any real archaeologists except for a few that I can think of that really did
yeah.
violate some social and ethical policies. But most of the people we banned are trolls anyway. So
Yeah. You know what's sort of
yeah.
depressing now that I think about it is the fact
Mm.
that most of the really, really, really popular archaeology podcasts are all are basically all academic focused. They're not like really field archaeology focused. Like I started listening to one
Hmm.
yesterday. I'm not sure if you've heard. Maybe you've heard of it. Was it Ark and Ants?
I've heard of them before, but I've never really listened to them.
I mean, it's not to say that it was actually, he's a very excellent host. He's very smart and insightful and asks like very good questions, but still all his stuff is very theoretical and
Hmm.
you know, just very God, I don't want to sound like I'm being anti, academic, but
Yeah.
it's just like I feel like God, aren't people interested in like the nitty-gritty down ground details?
Well, and that's what I feel like we try to cover in the CRM Arc podcast is
Yeah.
really getting into that kind of stuff because you're right. There's what is the other? There's another big anthropology focused podcast.
Ooh.
What the heck's it called? I can't
Yeah.
remember what it's called, but there's a few anthropology podcasts out there,
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the anthropology ones, if you call yourself an anthropology podcast, they
Yeah.
are typically run by academics because I mean, we're archaeologists. There's not that
Yeah.
many academics that are in archaeology. You know what I mean? I mean, they're
Yeah.
in archaeology, but they really call themselves anthropologists. And if you're in
Ah.
anthropology and you call yourself an anthropologist, you're probably an academic. And most of those podcasts that I've listened to are heavy on theory,
Yeah.
heavy on just real technical stuff. So I don't know who their audience is, but it's definitely people who are in the business. It seems.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's kind of like the reason why I appreciate. Oh God, was it Dig It with Raven? I think.
yeah, yeah, she's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I commented on one of her
Yeah.
videos. I thought it was very interesting. It's like you know, it's hers is one of those channels where you think, wow, like it should be getting more views. I mean, obviously, like some of the more pop culture focused ones are getting more views, but I feel
Hmm.
like some of the other stuff. And even though she called herself an archaeologist, she's also more academic focused than I am. Like I was looking at her gear video, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that's like you sound just like you're in school. Look at some of that stuff you pack.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Totally.
obviously I pack all sorts of different things. Like I mean, I'm not gonna go over it now because like it would take like a bajillion years. But
Right. Right.
I'm actually gonna do I was gonna do a video where I show everyone where I basically like Marquez Brownlee does like what's in my bag or what is it? I
Hmm.
always forget like what gear he's carrying now, and I was thinking I should do that
Hmm.
too. Even though that would take
Nice.
much longer than Marquez Brownlee, I feel like.
You carry a lot of gear.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially now that I'm like adding like GoPro stuff. I mean, I'm not sure that actually counts. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
It's
So.
also interesting. God, if I was hoping this week was going to be the week where everything went off without a hitch. Because I was thinking if we have at least 2 weeks where everything goes off without a hitch, we should invite a guest on.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. Screenshot everything, and then you'll have it for next week. Write it down. Figure out where everything is hooked up, and then we can just turn it on next week and go to town.
Well, that's the thing. I only changed one thing, so I undid that one thing, and it's working now. So as long as you and the guests don't mind not being able to see me, like everything should be good.
Well, and we can see you 30 seconds behind if we watch it on Facebook. So
That's true. I mean, it makes me wonder because,
yeah.
like, obviously, plenty of people do podcasts without seeing each other, so maybe it almost be the same thing.
Yeah, I don't see the problem with it. The only reason I have my video on is so
Yeah.
you can transmit it into the Facebook thing. So
Yeah.
otherwise I'd probably have it off. So
Ah,
um, yeah. Well,
interesting.
I think we should probably kill it. I want to get a Peloton workout in before dinner
Yeah.
tonight. So yeah.
Interesting.
All
Anything
right,
else
man.
you want to talk about for the APN coming up this week or anything?
I don't think so. We're just keeping it going. I'm surprised that well, not surprised, but luckily my hosts are continuing to put out content because they all have time to now. And yeah, we had a good Serum Art podcast recording today, like that I said will be out the 22nd. We cut it short because
Yeah.
they all had dinners and families and things like that they were doing, and we all kind of forgot it was Easter. So
Oh.
because it's our normal recording time, but we said
Yeah.
screw it, let's record anyway.
Oh
So
yeah, and happy birthday.
oh well, thanks a lot. Yeah, kind of forgot it was my birthday too. So um,
So you're like me like
so
that.
I know. Well, if this were a normal April, we probably would have rescheduled, and you and I wouldn't be talking right now because my wife and I probably would have gone somewhere. We'd be out camping. We'd be doing something for my birthday.
Yeah.
But since we're basically locked down and socially isolating, then we're just home and it's like any other day. So,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. So no big deal.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that we're gonna have a great summer. I'm looking forward to some field work. I'm really looking forward to getting on the road and doing a few archaeology projects and camping
Yeah.
out and buying a trailer to do that in. And then I think
Ooh.
if I get my way, if
Yeah.
the air races get canceled, for sure we're gonna probably do something like this. But I
Yeah.
think we might head over to the East Coast for a month or two because my
Ooh.
wife's sister is
Yeah.
going to be having another baby, and we might want to be out there for a little bit. And I wouldn't mind going out there with our own camping trailer and having the freedom to just basically do whatever we want. Because
That's
there's a lot
in-
of East Coast stuff that we never did when we lived out there. And
Yeah.
it'd be nice to be able to take little weekend trips and midweek trips to do stuff like that. So
Oh, and you won't have to be camping and you won't have to be sleeping inside a VW Beetle anymore.
right, done that, been there, done that. Surprisingly high amount of room when you put the seats down. So
Too bad you don't have photos from
anyway,
those days, because you could have done like a comparison photo.
I'll tell you what, man. Jeez, yeah, I don't have those photos. Yeah. Uh, all right, man. Well,
All
I think
right.
that's good for now. Yeah, I'm glad we
Yeah.
got this working and I figured out. I was ready to bail on it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Whew.
yeah. Well, I guess we'll see you next time. And for the audience on the Archaeology show, thanks for
Yeah.
listening to this recording. And if you want to join us live, you can head over to facebook.com/arcpodnet,
Yeah.
ARCHPODNET. Or Richie's got a few places you can watch it too, and those are.
Yeah. On YouTube, it's Happy Archaeology Fun Time, and on Twitch, God, I want to say it's the Man in the Hat, but I might be wrong about that. So don't but the actual link is always in the descriptions of my videos. So you know you can always just go there.
There you go. Oh, I will leave you with one more little
Yeah.
nugget. Something I've taken. I'm usually working pretty much every day, whether it's editing podcasts or videos or real work or something like that.
Yeah.
But I did take some time out on Friday for a long time, and I took some time out yesterday.
Yeah.
I downloaded because it went on sale from $50 to $22. No
Yeah.
Man's Sky for PS4,
Oh.
and maybe we'll talk about that next time because I haven't quite processed how that game works yet. So,
Because I almost thought you were
but
gonna say Animal Crossing or whatever that game is.
oh my God, no, no. No Man's Sky. Look it up if you don't know what it is, and it's pretty cool. It's
Cool.
not a shoot 'em up game. It's really basically exploration. So,
Ah.
but we'll talk about that next week.
Except no one's paying you. All right. I'm gonna shut
That's
it
right.
off now.
That's right.
All right.
All right.
So. All right. Take it easy, everyone.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.